Good morning, students. Myself Surendra Kumar, TGT Social Science, JNV Koti, Jharkhand. Today we are going to discuss about books and the burials. As we know the fact that the Vedas are the oldest book in the world. Vedas literally means the knowledge. The Vedas are 4 in numbers, such as the Rig Veda, the Sam Veda, the Yajur Veda, and the Atharva Veda. Among these 4 Vedas, the Rig Veda is the oldest Veda, composed around 3500 years ago. The Rig Veda we have 1000 of hymns called suktas or belset. The hymns of Rig Vedas are in praise of God and Goddess of that time. Among these God and Goddess, the 3 gods were very important. Indra, the god of warriors; Agni, the fire god; so a plant from which a special drink was prepared and which was used during the religious rites and rituals. The hymns of Rig Veda were composed by the rishis. The priest taught the student to recite and memorize beat to beat with a special care. The most of the hymns of Rig Veda were composed by, taught by, and learned by the men. But a few of the hymns of Rig Veda were composed by women also. The Rig Veda in Old Vedic Sanskrit, which is different from the Sanskrit you learn in present textbook. The textbooks are printed and written, whereas in the Rig Veda, more emphasis on to recite and memorize rather than to read. Rig Veda was composed very earlier, but it was written and printed not more than 200 years ago. The other Veda, the Sam Veda, talks about the musical notes and chanting. The Yajur Veda talks about the religious rites and rituals as well as sacrifices. The Atharva Veda talks about a spell and charms. Now each and every Veda is divided into 4 parts: the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Aranyaka talks about mantras and hymns, whereas Brahmanas talks about rites and rituals and sacrifices. Aranyaka talks about methodology and theology, and Upanishads talks about the philosophy, and it is also known as the Vedanta. Now, many of the prayers in Rig Veda were for the cattle, the children especially, the sun and the horses, which show the importance of these three things during that period. At first, we are going to discuss about the cattle. The cattle were very important during that time because the main occupation of the people of that time was animal rearing. The person having more and more number of cows or the cattle were considered as the rich person of the society. During that time, the cow was the unit of wealth. If the punishment and rewards were also given in the form of cattle or cows. Secondly, the children or the son, during that time, it was the religious belief that the last rites and rituals were performed by the son, then the person will get the path of heaven. It also shows the domination of male in society. These two beliefs were till today prevails in our society. Third, the horses. The horses were used to draw the chariots during the battle. The battles were fought to control over the grasslands, the fertile land, the water bodies, cattle, and sometimes for people also. During modern time, the horses are also important. In modern science, the power of unit is defined in horsepower. There was no regular army. There was no regular army. Most of the men took part in the battle. But there were assemblies where the people meet regularly and discuss about the matter of war and peace. During that time, the people choose their leaders themselves. The person having courageous, brave and skillful was chosen as the leader. The wealth obtained by battle was distributed properly among the leaders, the priests, people, and some part of the wealth was kept for religious purposes. Sacrifices were made into the fire in form of ghee, grains, and sometimes an animal also. Dear students, the sacrifices or the system of sacrifices was prevailing in Indian society till today. We made sacrifices into the fire to please the gods and the goddess of our beliefs. And it was considered that the Agni or the fire is mediatory god. Whatever the sacrifices we are made into the fire will reach to the god Now we are going to study how historians study the Rig Veda. Just like archaeologists, the historians also take the help of material remains as well as the written sources, whereas the archaeologist gave more emphasis on material remains, the historian gave more emphasis on the written sources. Some of the hymns of Rig Veda are in form of dialogue, such as a dialogue between the Rishi Vishwamitra and two rivers, Vyas and Satluj. In this dialogue, Rishi Vishwamitra praying the river sisters to slow the flow of water so the musicians and other people will cross the river easily. The river sisters says the Rishi that why you are praying to us? We are flowing on the path provided by the gods. So you have to pray to the God. The rivers told the rishis that once we started to flow, we cannot stop. But we slow down the flow of our water and your chariots will cross easily. Now we are going to discuss how the people described during that time. There are several ways to describe the people, such as on the basis of work they perform, on the basis of religion they believe, on the basis of community they belong, on the basis of region they reside, on the basis of language they spoke, and on the basis of culture they adopt. Such as the priest, sometimes also known as Brahmins, they are the people who perform religious rites, rituals and sacrifices. They compose the hymns also. They taught the students the hymns properly. The word Rajas, the person who protect the community and who provide the leadership or to command the Kabilas during the battles, they are known as Rajas. The term Jana means people or the community as a whole. The word Jana we still find in Hindi and other languages. The word Vais derived from the peace. There are several examples of Janaj, such as the Yadujan, Purujan, Kurujan, Bharatjan, and so on. During that time, a war between 10 Janaj, 5 Aryans, and 5 Anarjans was fought. In this battle, the Bharatjan defeated the other Janaj. On the basis of that battle, our country India got the name Bharat, and this battle was known as the Dasrajan Yuddha, Dasragya Yuddha in Indian history. Same as the term Aryans, the people who spoke Sanskrit, they perform religious rites and sacrifices to please the gods. They wrote the hymns of the Rig Vedas. They studied the Rig Vedas. They are known as Aryans. Whereas the people who spoke other languages, who didn't perform the religious rites and rituals and sacrifices, they were restricted to study Vedas. They are known as Anars or the Das and Dasyus. They were captured during the battle. In later time, they were known as the slaves. They were considered as the property of the leaders, and they had to perform the work or the duty assigned by their leaders. Dear students, now we are going to discuss about the study of megaliths. Megaliths are big stones arranged properly on the burial of a dead person. The process of or the practice of erecting megaliths began about 3000 years ago. In the area around Deccan, the South India, the Northeast India, as well as in Kashmir. These megaliths are of different type. Some of the megaliths can be seen on the surface. Some of the megaliths are underground. Some of the megaliths are decorated, whereas some of the megaliths are geometrical in design. But we find some common features in each and every megalith, such as in each and every megalith we found the pot in black and red color, the tools and weapons of iron, the skeleton of horses and horse equipments, and water and food pot. By study of megaliths, we can determine the social differences prevailing during that time. For example, a megalith or the burial of Brahmagiri, in which a skeleton was found with 33 gold coins, 4 silver coins, 4 copper bangles, and 2 stone beads. Whereas in other part of Brahmagiri, we found a megalith having only a stone beads, so that during that time some people were rich, some people were poor, some people were leader, and some people were as a common man. Some of the megaliths have more than one skeleton, which show that the burial of the same family at the same place who died in later period. The person who died in later time, their family members kept to bury it in the grave inside the surface with the help of porthole. The porthole was circled or marked by a big stone as a signpost. So, in the later, people entered in the porthole or returned back easily. Now we are going to discuss about a special burial of Inamgaon. Inamgaon is located on the river Ghod, the tributary to the river Bhima. Around 3600 and 2700 years ago, the most of them were buried, their head pointed to the north, and this custom was till today prevailing in our Indian society. Most of the person buried or the last rituals were performed by putting the head towards the north with a pot of food and water. A special burial was found at Imamgaon. A person buried or put in a big clay jar with wheel and buried in the courtyard of a big house having 5 rooms. And this house was located in the middle of the house. In this burial site, we found a granary also, which show that this house or the burial was belongs to the leader of that time or the Sardar of the Kabila. Most of the peoples were worried very simply. Now we are going to discuss about the occupation of the people of Inam Gaon. The main occupation of the people of Inam Gaon was farming. Most of the peoples were engaged in farming. They produce wheat, barley, rice, peas, millets and other crops also. We found so many bones having several cut marks, which proves that the people of Inam Gaon were rearing animals like goat, dog, horses, deer, cattle, buffalo, and these were used as food also. During that time, fruits like jamun, avla, berry, and several other fruits were also found during that time. Now we are going to study about the skeleton. It is very easy to decide the skeleton of a child on the basis of size, but it is difficult to decide the skeleton belongs to a male child or a female child, a man or a woman. Sometimes the historians or the archaeologists try to decide on the basis of ornaments found with the skeleton. The skeleton or the burial having more number of ornaments were considered as the woman skeleton, and the skeleton or the burial having less number of ornaments were considered as the burial of a man or the skeleton of a man. But during that time, man also wore the ornaments. So after some times, the archaeologists or the historians decided the sex of the burial or the skeleton on the basis of the size. The size of a woman skeleton is larger than the skeleton of a man, especially the pelvic areas. The pelvic areas of a woman is larger than the man due to the child-bearing capacity of a woman. Students, now we are going to discuss about the evidence of writing. As we know, about 3,500 years ago, we find the first evidence of writing in China. And these writings were on animal bones. These are called oracle bones because they used to predict the future by the fortune tellers. The bones was put into the fire. Cracks were appear on the bones, and these cracks were studied by the fortune tellers, and on the basis of the cracks appear on the bone, the fortune tellers tells about the predicted questions, such as would the king won the battle, would the king have a son, would the harvest was in good quantity. Such types of questions were predicted by the fortune tellers on the basis of a study of the oracle bones. During that time in China, the kings have a palaces. The king accumulated wealth. The king had bronze vessels. The king collected the taxes. Whereas in our country, during that time or the Rigvedic time, the kings having no palace, king did not collect the taxes, and so. Now we are going to finish the chapters. Any doubt? Please ask. Now some questions for you as a homework. First question: how many numbers of Veda? Second question: which is the oldest Veda? Third: what do you mean by hymns? Fourth: what were the causes of battle during Rigvedic period? Fifth: what do you mean by megalith? Sixth number: how megaliths are useful in a study of history? Okay, thanks.